So if you guys look at my upper control arms, right there, it's pretty close to the bump stop. Like I can barely put one finger in it. So every time I hit a bump, I can feel my upper control arms hitting the bump stop. And this is how I bought the truck. So I'm assuming the previous owner purchased it, cranked up the factory torsion keys a little bit to maybe level out the truck. The truck is still not even leveled out. Still nosediving probably about an inch. Had he completely leveled it out the cheap way, I'd be sitting on the bump stops. We're gonna fix that today by installing Kryptonite's leveling kit. As always, we are at Elite Innovations with Mondo. So if you guys need any work done and you're in Augusta, where can they find you?
On Facebook, Instagram,
TikTok.
Call us 803-634-9592.
North Augusta, South Carolina. I do want to say this though. Please call Mondo if you need work done from him. If you aren't intending on using him, but you just need to ask him a bunch of questions, please refrain from doing that because he's trying to run a business. Step one, swap out the torsion keys from factory to Kryptonite's leveling torsion keys. They had it cranked up pretty high. There are cheaper ways to level out a truck. Well, this way is actually free. And there's proper way, I would say, to level out a truck. Leveling out a truck is very controversial topic in my opinion. I don't know if you guys watched my previous upload where I got the hitch stuck. Another reason why you don't buy a rusted truck because, well, everything is just seized. And honestly, this truck's not even in that bad of a condition in terms of rust, but it's just the nature of salt, snow, and rust. Alright guys, keep in mind, if you have Midwestern or Northern truck, a 2-hour job will turn into a 4-hour job. Torsion bar is seized up to my lower control arm, we can't slide it out. Meaning, we can't swap out the keys. So we're just gonna blast it with PB Blaster and keep on using the impact. I might have to just keep my stock keys, I don't know. Was it already maxed out?
They were up there, but it wasn't maxed out. I mean, it was pretty high.
Yeah. Ideally, I want to put leveling keys, but it's really no different than cranking up the regular, right?
Yeah, you just don't have to crank the level keys up so much.
If push
reclock differently.
Yeah, if push comes to shove, I'll just reuse these and then just level out the front a little bit more. We'll try for like another 30 minutes, and then if this doesn't work, I'm just gonna keep my factory torsion keys. Oh yeah. Nothing. Yeah, if anybody up north or Midwestern where it gets a lot of snow, give us a tip below. But we are going to abort the torsion keys for now because, well, I eventually plan on putting a 5-inch lift on this, and with the 5-inch lift I want it sitting as low as possible, so I wouldn't even want the leveling keys on it. We'll go ahead and start doing the upper control arms, Fox shocks, and then probably just turn the factory keys all the way up and then call it a day. Alright, with the control arms, because I am leveling the truck out, we want to put the ball joints on the bottom. Now when I put a lift kit on the truck, I'm going to turn the keys down in the front so the control arm would sit like this once I put the lift kit. But for leveled application, where the torsion keys are going to be turned up, we want to put it on the bottom to compensate for that angle. Driver's side upper control arm done. Greasing up the bushings. However, this is a very important however. You do not need to grease the ball joints on the Kryptonite because they come pre-greased. I did not know this, but if you put grease in them, you're over-greasing your ball joints and it will not be covered under the warranty. Next oil change, you could put maybe a pump or two in there, but right out the box, they have grease in them, so they're good to go.
You ever grease them?
It just needed some love. Factory shocks versus the Fox. Over here at Project Torque, we literally torque everything to spec. And check this thing out. Wanda, how much did you spend on that thing?
$750, $800, something like that.
Jeez, that's the most expensive torque wrench I've ever seen, but it's fancy.
It does more than just.
You know what's expensive though? Snap on.
It does pounds. What else does it do?
4 pounds, degrees,
Inch pounds,
Newton meters.
Newton.
CGCM.
Jeez, it can take your SATs for you too.
Yeah.
Stock control arm versus kryptonite.
Okay, sounds good, man. I'll see you.
Factory torsion keys turned up a good bit. Are we leveled? Is it all the way down?
Yeah, I probably need to come down on the keys a little bit.
Think so? I say send it. Just kidding. No, yeah, we squatting a little bit. But it just might need some time to settle.
It does. It's probably good like that.
Right? I think it'll just settle and we'll be fine.
Yeah, because you're good on this side.
42. Probably 43 and a half.
44.
44. So we're 2 inches higher in the front.
Same on this side.
44. What about back there? 42.
Almost 43.
I mean, fuel tank's on that side, so.
That's not always the time.
Whoa, you squatting.
Is it noticeable?
A little bit. And I guess Devin. And I guess you if you decide to take your truck.
Look at these shocks. They're like, these shocks are shot.
Wando, I don't think.
Abuse. She just slapped her wife. The Mexican style. What about the rear shocks? How are my rear shock? You want to compress them for me? Do a little compression test.
Yeah.
You think they were bad?
I think they had a couple miles left on.
Maybe 2 more miles left. Could have made it to the alignment shop. Oh my god.
Noise. Why does it sound like something yelling?
Somebody's like mowing the lawn or something. Or grinding or something.
Yeah,
Dude, look. It's just like staying there. How did I even drive like this? Trash. We are off to the alignment shop because, well, the alignment is really off. The leveling kit is very subjective. A lot of people who hate leveling kits. I can honestly understand both sides of people who hate leveling kits and who don't mind leveling kits. So the way the previous owner did was just a cheap way to do it. I'm not a fan of it. However, to me, there is a proper way to do it, and the proper way to doing it is going with the Kryptonite Stage 3 leveling kit, which replaces all your factory shocks, upper control arms, and the factory keys. Now, to me, I like that Stage 3 kit because the shocks from the factory, the OEM shocks on these trucks, I am not a fan of regardless. So the fact that I get to replace those shocks is a big plus, and these Kryptonite control arms are beefier and gives you better downward travel so you don't hit the bump stop like I was doing with the factory ones. Going from how my truck was to how it is now with the Stage 3 kit, in my opinion, is a huge difference in ride quality. I mean, the truck rides way better now with the Fox shocks, and also I am not bottoming out and hitting the bump stops with my control arms. So that right there is a huge plus as well. But there's a lot of people who hate leveling kits. Yeah, I agree. However, if you are 2.5 inch like adjusting a 2.5 inch with a leveling kit is a maximum I would do. Anything over that, like a 3 inch to 3.5, that is terrible. At that point, I highly recommend doing a lift kit. There's a lot of people who don't like leveling kits at all and always recommend a full 4-inch suspension kit. And me, from my personal experience with helping out customers in the past, is that not everybody wants to spend, let's say, like $1,500 to $2,000 on the lift kit. Is going to run you at least $800 to $1,000 just in labor. So you're looking at $3 grand just to get your truck lifted. Not everybody wants to spend that kind of money. Typically, leveling kits, most shops would charge about $400 in labor, and the stage 3 kryptonite kit with Fox shocks will run you about $1,300. You're saving about $1,000 to $1,500 going with a leveling kit if all you're trying to do is run some 35s or slightly larger tire. And also another thing is, I'll say that the ride quality on the leveling kit is terrible. And to me, that's really subjective, right? Because some people are more sensitive than the others. For me, I've had people put a leveling kit on the truck and they think it rides better, or the slight stiffness in the ride quality doesn't bother them. However, I also know people who will notice the difference and don't want any kind of stiffer suspension. If you are one of those people who are very particular and will notice the difference in stiffer suspension and you don't want that, then you might have to pay a little bit extra and go with the 4-inch suspension kit and drop it all the way down. Personally, my truck rides better than stock, or at least the way it was. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, driving through this gravel driveway, truck handles these bumps way better, even with the leveling kit, just because the old setup was so worn out. If you are just wanting to level out the front end of your truck about 2 to 2.5 inches, I highly recommend Kryptonite Stage 3 leveling kit. And right now would be the perfect time to do it, because every dollar you spend on JW Motorsports Co., which sells Kryptonite parts, will get you 1 entry towards the LOI Duramax. And the alignment is straight as an arrow. Gosh. Love coming over to Mason's Garage in North Augusta, Edgefield County, because guarantee you, he will not give you your truck back until your alignment is spot on. Final reveal of the LML Duramax with the leveling kit. But before we go over the truck, our t-shirts have finally released. So here's one of my favorite ones right here. Hustle until your haters ask if you're hiring. Here's a finished product. We have the Kryptonite's upper control arm right here, in which gives you plenty of downward travel now, even though we just went up 2 inches up in the air up front. So this gives you plenty of clearance. But not only that, this looks way beefier and way more trustworthy than the factory arms. Ball joints are easily accessible if you ever need to service them. And we have the Fox 2.0 shocks. As you guys saw, they're longer than the factory ones, compensating for the 2 to 2.5 inches of height that you're gaining up front. And lastly, yes, 35s do fit on a level truck. I know that's been like the age-old question of every Duramax. Can 35s fit leveled? And actually with the 2020 Plus, you can fit 37s leveled pretty easily. But here's one of my favorite tires, Nitto Trail Grappler. This is 35 by 1150 R20. That was on my LOI Duramax. And honestly, this tire is the perfect size for a 2.5-inch level because it gives you plenty of sidewall, 11.5. However, it's also not too wide that it is going to mess up your clearance. So right now I get pretty much full lock, maybe minor scrub up here on the wheel well liner, which I will push this forward or trim it. But other than that, I think I rubbed a little bit on the cab as well right here, but we can trim this a little bit and maybe do a slight NorCal. But other than that, 35 1150 fits perfectly on the level Duramax. So yeah. And these are the 2020 plus Denali takeoffs. I personally like these wheels on this truck better than the 5 stars, but I know 5 stars are still a lot of people's favorite. Oh yeah, so I definitely scrub a little bit on the wheel well liner at full lock, but like I said, I can trim it or zip tie and push this wheel well liner forward. So it's not that big of a deal. Let's look on the cab side. Oh yeah, we got plenty of clearance on the cab side. Maybe like if I'm hitting a bump, it'll rub right there. But other than that, we're good to go. People want to know, like, for one, how much did I pay for this truck? And also, like, how do I know if I'm getting a good deal for the truck? How much should I be paying for the vehicle? So for me, I paid $27,000 for this truck, and after taxes, it was about $29,000. It was a little bit higher than what I wanted to pay. However, you know, with the mileage and the way I figured out the price was that I was looking for other 2011 to 2013 Denali HDs online, and I set the distance to about maybe like 200 to 300 miles because I wanted it to be within my area. So what you do is you search that. I usually use Car Gurus, and from there you see how much those vehicles are selling for in your area, and then figure out the truck that you're about to buy is a good price or not. And from my research, this truck was going for about $27,000 to even $30,000 within 200-mile radius of where I live, and also with, you know, 170 plus thousand miles. To me, it was a good buy. It is a little bit more rusted than I wanted to. However, it gives me an opportunity to make more content for you guys to figure out how to get rid of some of this rust, because, well, all my trucks have been from down south, so I really don't know how to like work with rust like some of you guys may. So it's like a big learning curve for me. I like taking on challenges. That's generally what I do to try to figure out how much I want to pay for a vehicle. So hopefully that helps. If you're in the market for buying a vehicle, use that method and let me know if it helped you guys.